right, welcome to this episode of Trojan Poetry. This is episode number 7. I've chosen the poem. Mike has not seen it. And this week we are looking at a poem by E. Cummings from 1940. So here we go. A people-shaped too-many-ness far too. And will it tell us who we are? And will it tell us why we dream? And will it tell us how we drink, crawl, eat, walk, die, fly, do? A not-alive, undead too-nearishness. And shall we cry, and shall we laugh, and shall entirely our doom steer his great small wish into upward deepness of far less fear, much more than climbing hope meets most despair? All knowing's having, and have is, you guess, perhaps the very unkindest way to kill each of those creatures called oneself. So we'll not have, but I imagine that yes is the only living thing, and we'll make yes.
John, you did it. You did it this week. Wow.
Yes.
That's the reaction you wanted, I'm assuming.
Yes.
All right. Okay, please enlighten me.
All right.
What did you notice?
So I chose this poem because we've been talking about how we've had a lot of depressing poems. And oddly enough, I always think of E. Cummings kind of as having happy poems. And I always remembered the line that I heard a long time ago, I imagine that yes is the only living thing. And I wasn't really sure I knew the context of that line. Like, I always knew the line, but I didn't really know the context of what poem it came from. So I did a quick search and I found it. And I found, obviously, this poem. And I really became intrigued by it. And it seems so dark in the beginning. The two people-shaped too-many-nearness. He's just surrounded by people. He's overwhelmed by people. He feels like the crowd is kind of ganging up on him. And he really seems to resent or to question that mob mentality. But by the end, then, he starts talking about knowing and having and what it means to have and to know. And then he comes up, I think, with that incredibly optimistic or positive line, I imagine that yes is the only living thing, and we'll make yes. A very affirmative change there, and I'm very moved by that, and just the power of the language. Even though he distorts the language so much, right? He flips the words around, inverts the words. I get it. I think I fully understand the poem despite its confused syntax. But I think it took me a while, right? Especially that middle segment. I didn't get that. I'm not sure I still quite get the doom. The doom steering his great small wish into upward deepness of less fear, much more than climbing hope meets most despair. So I still have a question about that part. I think I get it, but man, to me, it's a very powerful cry, right? For he's confused, he's upset, he's angry about the crowd that seems to be surrounding him in 1940, right before World War II, or before America entered World War II. But he's trying to imagine that positive idea that yes, there is something, and we need to affirm that. So you've seen it now for the first time.
Well, this is one you need to, this is reread. I mean, E. Cummings is reread. I mean, that's the only technique I can think of to come up with the meaning. Now, what struck me was curious when you said the part about the first line, a people-shaped too-many-ness. And then if you go down to the second to last stanza, it says, the very unkindest way to kill each of those creatures called oneself. So he's talking about each person as like many different identities or many different creatures. And so then I was wondering about that, and I noticed that throughout the whole poem he uses we, right? We will do this, we will do that. And then at the end he says, I imagine that yes is the only living thing and will make yes. So I'm wondering if he's talking about each person's separate identities that they hold within themselves and how, and how that can shape your outlook on things. And when it says will make yes, it's like my identity will create the yes along with all of us together.
All right, so our question is, for this poem, or my question is, do you think he earns the optimism of the end, or do you buy it? Right? Is there too much negativity at the beginning that the ending just comes off as forced or out of nowhere?
All right, thanks for watching. Please join the conversation in the comments on YouTube or on Twitter at Trojan Poetry DGN. Also, check out our website at trojanpoetrydgn.blogspot.com.